Rassie Erasmus knew Argentina. He knew their system, their physicality, their habits, and exactly what they could do in Buenos Aires. But before this test, he admitted there was one problem: 10 uncapped players in Argentina's wider squad that South Africa simply didn't know as well. And after 80 minutes in Buenos Aires, we finally got the answer to why that mattered. Because this wasn't supposed to be close. South Africa arrived as world champions, unbeaten in 12 straight internationals. Argentina arrived off the back of a chaotic few weeks, a bruising loss to England, 7 yellow cards, and the suspension of fly half Tomas Albornoz. On paper, this looked like a routine away win for the Springboks. It didn't turn out that way. And to understand why, you have to go back to what Rassie said before a ball was even kicked. In the build-up to the test, Erasmus was asked about Argentina's discipline problems. He wouldn't touch it. What happened in the previous game regarding refereeing? It's not for us to comment on, he said. Instead of piling on, he did something almost nobody expected. He defended them. We've played Argentina for a long time, and we've never experienced them as a team that is negative or too feisty, he said. They're very hard men, and they're very physical, but we've never found them to be unsportsmanlike in games. That's an interesting call. Most coaches would have taken the free shot, plant a seed with the referees, make sure every Argentine collision gets a second look. Rassie didn't. And when you dig into what he said next, you start to understand why. He wasn't worried about Argentina's discipline. He was worried about something else entirely. We know Argentina well because we play them regularly, he said. But there are 10 new guys we don't know. We don't know exactly what this team will look like. 10 new names, sitting inside Felipe Contepomi's wider squad. Uncapped players, some coming off strong domestic form, others just getting their first real taste of international selection. That's the group Rassie was talking about. And it matters because of how South Africa usually prepares. This is a fixture the Springboks know extremely well. Years of meetings, years of tape, years of studying exactly how Argentina wants to play. That knowledge is a weapon, but a weapon built on knowing the players. And suddenly, a chunk of that information was gone. Now, here's where we need to be precise, because it's easy to get this wrong. Those 10 uncapped players were spread across Argentina's full 34-man squad. Not all of them were about to take the field. When the actual matchday 23 was named, it came down to 4. Francisco Moreno handed a start at tight head prop for his first cap, and 3 more uncapped forwards named among the replacements: hooker Lionel Oviedo, and loose forwards Juan Panucos and Juan Martín Scelzo. Pablo Matera was named captain, leading a side that had been reshaped by injuries, unavailability, and a 4-match ban for fly half Tomas Albornoz following his disciplinary incident against England. So this wasn't really about 10 unknown players walking onto the pitch at once. It was about the uncertainty those changes created throughout the whole squad. A coach missing his usual spine, a team built in a hurry, and a stadium that's given South Africa problems before. There's another layer to this, and Rassie pointed to it himself. Contepomi was building this squad under conditions South Africa simply don't deal with. Their players are spread all over the world, and they don't have a core group playing together in Argentina, Erasmus said. South Africa select globally too, but Rassie believes the domestic system back home gives his own group something Argentina can't easily replicate. We're fortunate to have a strong domestic system that allows players to come together and build cohesion more quickly, he said. That's not a small advantage. Test rugby rewards players who've trained together, who know each other's habits without needing to think about it. Contepomi was rebuilding parts of his side under difficult conditions, with several of his most experienced names unavailable through injury, suspension, or club commitments outside the international window. On paper, that should have made Argentina easier to break down, not harder. And that stadium matters more than people realize. Rassie brought it up himself. We want to try and beat Argentina in Argentina, which is a really tough thing to do, he said. Whether people believe it or not, we've lost here before, and they've given us the biggest hiding we've had since this coaching team has been together. That's not a coach being modest. That's a coach who remembers exactly what this ground can do to a team that shows up overconfident. South Africa weren't just walking into an unfamiliar Argentina. They were walking into a venue with history against them, fielding a side that had 13 changes of its own. Sia Khaleesi, Eben Etzebeth, Lud de Jager, Sasha Feinberg-Mezalou, and Morn van den Berg all returning from injury and being thrown straight back into a high-pressure test. Two teams walking in with question marks. That's why, days before kickoff, Erasmus didn't talk about confidence. He talked about something else. "I believe it'll require a very brave performance from both teams," he said. "I think it'll be a very even contest. Not clever, not comfortable, brave." Coming from a coach who rarely admits uncertainty in public, that word was doing a lot of work. And for most of the first half, it looked like his caution had been exactly right. Argentina came out and played like a team with nothing to lose. They led 10-3 for most of the opening period, playing with pace and physicality that caught South Africa off guard. Kantepemi would have had plenty to be happy about at halftime. Khaleesi, just 25 minutes into his comeback from injury, was forced off. South Africa looked leg-weary, gave up territory, made uncharacteristic errors. This reworked Argentina's side, reshaped, missing key names, carrying 4 uncapped players into a test against the world champions, was matching the best team on the planet, and doing it in front of a stadium already roaring for blood. But this is where the story gets interesting. By halftime, the gap had closed to 10-all. South Africa hadn't been blown away, but they hadn't found an answer either. And then, midway through the second half, something shifted. South Africa's experience. The exact thing Rassie had leaned on when he talked about the danger of facing unfamiliar players started to show. In the 63rd minute, South Africa won a scrum 5 meters from Argentina's line. Number 8 Cameron Hankum powered over. Handra Pollard added the conversion, and for the first time all night, South Africa actually led. That try didn't just put points on the board. It changed the shape of the whole match. Suddenly, Argentina weren't playing with freedom anymore. They were chasing. And chasing against a South African defense that had weathered the storm and settled into exactly the kind of grinding, physical rugby this coaching group has built its identity on. Still, Argentina weren't finished. And this is where the new-look Pumas almost wrote a different ending entirely. With the clock in the red, Argentina strung together 15 phases in one desperate, sustained assault on South Africa's line. The kind of pressure that tests discipline, fitness, and composure all at once. It ended in the corner, when substitute wing Matias Moroni couldn't hold on to a pass with the try line waiting in front of him. The ball went loose. The whistle went. And South Africa survived, 17-10. So, was Rassie right to be cautious? Look at the final scoreline and you could argue it barely mattered. South Africa won, extended their streak to 12 straight test victories, and head into the rugby's greatest rivalry series against New Zealand with confidence intact. But look at how that scoreline was built, and a different picture appears. A reworked Argentina side, carrying 4 uncapped players, held the world champions to 10-10 at halftime after leading for much of the opening half. They came within a single handling error of giving themselves a chance to steal the match at the death. That's the real answer to the question Rassie raised before kickoff. He wasn't worried about Argentina's discipline, because discipline was never the danger. The danger was not knowing exactly what a rebuilt, hungrier version of this team could do. And for long stretches of that match, they showed him precisely why that uncertainty was worth taking seriously. So here's the question worth sitting with. If 4 uncapped players and a rebuilt squad could push the world champions this close in their own backyard, what happens the next time these two teams meet? Once those new names aren't new anymore. Do you think Argentina's next generation is closer to matching the Springboks than people realize? Let me know in the comments.